Welcome back to Narrator's Cut. Today we're going to show you a 2021 psychological thriller series called Behind Her Eyes. When a single mother initiates an affair with her doctor's employer while also covertly befriending his intriguing wife, she finds herself thrust into a world of bizarre mental games. Enjoy and keep on watching. In the film, Louise Bardsley is a single mother who is dissatisfied with her mundane existence and longs to fall in love again. A botched date leads her to meet a young guy named David Ferguson, who has just returned to town after a long absence. Their sexual attraction becomes more assertive over the night, but David quickly finds that he cannot do so for some reason in his head. The next day, Louise learns that David is her new supervisor at her place of employment and that he is already married to a girl named Adele Campbell. David works as a doctor, and his wife has a mental health condition, with Louise serving as a part-time secretary on occasion. A superb example of a cliched love triangle. Behind Her Eyes is a novel that delves into David and Louise's feelings for one another, but with a twist. Adele, David's wife, meets Louise by chance and develops a strong attachment. She manipulates Louise into believing her dramatic history, and she accuses David of being the perpetrator. According to Adele, David married her because of the family land that turned the farm kid David into a wealthy businessman. Adele also makes public some of David's previous legal papers. Louise begins to believe that David is nothing more than a liar who wants to have a sexual relationship with her. On the other hand, David has an entirely different version of the events when it comes to Adele. David doesn't provide any relevant information and instead advises Louise to stay away from the labyrinth since she would only wind up hurting herself in the end. And here's the twist. Adele had a best friend named Rob Hoyle, who was also her manager. She met Rob when she was incarcerated at a mental facility. Adele presents Louise with a book that tells the tale of Rob. We learn a little bit about Rob's character via Louise's reading, and we understand that he was a heroin user who had a soft spot for Adele. Rob becomes envious of Adele's decision to marry David after her parents' death, and she ends up marrying David. According to her, Adele's version of the tale has David assassinating Rob. The tale goes that Rob gave Adele an intense amount of heroin to rape her, but in her desperate attempt to rescue herself, Adele murders Rob and throws him down a well to save herself. For this reason, David and Adele have relocated from their hometown to a new location in another state. As a result, Behind Her Eyes presents many alternative versions of the same tale from the perspectives of several people. A typical Rashomon effect may be seen here. What is not clear is which version of the tale is correct. In the end, the account reveals the identity of the protagonist. According to the book handed to Louise by Adele, Rob was familiar with magic, and he and his friends were able to turn their soul consciousness into a pharaoh-like flying ball. They will subsequently be able to go to any location in the world they have previously visited without being discovered. They can study, learn, and observe, as well as conceal behind people's ears and glance about. After reading about it, Louise decides to try the magic herself and pays a visit to her next-door neighbor's apartment. She was taken aback when she realized that this mystical wizardry was grounded in truth. On the other hand, Adele didn't merely reveal her secret magic trick to Lucy, she was plotting something far more sinister. They also used the soul transformation method to infuse a person's soul into another person's body. However, this is only possible if the other person's soul is wandering about using the same technique. As a result, when Louise pays Adele a visit and fears that she is about to commit suicide by locking the doors to her home, Louise turns into a soul. She enters Adele's chamber, but Adele is already in soul mode and successfully captures Louise's body. As a result, Adele's body becomes infused with Louise's spirit. In response to creating a suicide note saying that she murdered Rob, Adele trades her body with Louise. As a result, Louise will now have to face criminal charges for murder, while Adele is free to walk the streets and pursue a relationship with David. Louise has realized that Adele has weaved a dangerous web around her and that Adele has been manipulating her from the beginning with her magic trick. The term behind her eyes implies that Adele was always observing Louise in soul mode, even as she was having sexual relations with David and the two of them were flirting with each other on the dance floor. There is, however, an additional twist to this soul metamorphosis story. Rob was the one who taught Adele how to utilize this method, and he used it to trade bodies with her as well. As a result, it was Rob who had been inhabiting Adele's body all along, and Rob's corpse, which is now lying dead in a well, contains Adele's soul. Unlike David, Rob felt envious of Adele and desired David as a personal object for himself. For this reason, Rob expresses his desire for Louise to appreciate and admire her at some time over the series course. A twist is added to the love triangle when Rob says his passion for the guy and the lady featured in the narrative. That's all there is to it. I hope you like the movie. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more recap movies like this. We'll see you soon. Take care.